Nick Digilio's here. He's got a couple new podcasts he needs to tell you about right now.
What? Yeah. The Nick D podcast, which drops on Tuesday and Friday, just dropped about a half an hour ago.
What is it?
Well, this one is Eric Childress and Steve Procopi joined me to review all the new movies, which I will be talking about with you
in a second. What about the Saturday Night Live podcast?
The Saturday Night Live podcast is, I always kind of forget because I backlog them. I tape them ahead of time.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the one about the night that Nick Nolte was a no-show. In December of 1982, Nick Nolte was supposed to host SNL.
And he's a no-show?
Yeah, he may have had a little liquor.
Wait a minute, he did the week and then didn't show up for the show?
He bowed out on Wednesday night.
Oh, nice.
And so what was Dick Ebersol to do? This was in December of 1982. He was there to promote 48 Hours, and he just went, well, Eddie can host. So it's the only time in the history of Saturday Night Live where an active cast member actually hosted as well.
Wow.
Because Eddie Murphy stepped in as host.
And he was in the movie.
And it did not sit well with the cast.
Sure.
Because, and during the cold open, when he did the cold open, it's like, hey, Nick Nolte's sick. And they said he was sick, Nolte. And so he's like, he's sick. And so I'm going to do it. And he said, instead of Live from New York, it's Saturday night, he said, Live from New York, it's the Eddie Murphy show.
Oh.
And the people backstage, the cast members who included Julie Louis-Dreyfus, Tim Kazurinsky, Joe Piscopo, Mary Gross, they were not happy.
Well, and he's 21 at that point, immature.
His first comedy record was Gold. The movie had just opened a week before, and it was making millions of dollars.
Yeah. He was a rock star. He had earned it at that point.
Yeah, he was going high.
Yeah. So, but it's a fascinating. I mean, the episode itself is kind of fascinating to watch, and so that's what the podcast is all about. How that happened, what happened to Nick Nolte, and the only time a cast member doubled as a host. It's never happened since.
And you can get both of these podcasts where?
RadioMisfits.com, the Radio Misfits Podcast Network, and anywhere you stream, it's available all over at all of them. And that's the Nick D Podcast, Tuesdays and Fridays. And then the Saturday Night Live podcast is called That Show Hasn't Been Funny in Years, and that drops on Wednesdays.
Rob Schneider's in the news. Rob Schneider, who calls himself a conservative comedian, was pulled from the stage during a fundraiser at the Hospitals for Regina Foundation last Saturday night. Seems he was doing trans jokes, LGBTQ jokes, and vaccine and COVID-19 jokes as well. Look, again, I will defend comedians on almost all counts. Making fun of kids isn't funny. Making fun of people who can't defend themselves isn't funny. But this stuff is fine if you want to throw it out there. I would encourage you to know your audience, but the audience also has the right to walk.
Of course.
And they have the right to post about you. And Rob Schneider, who has never been hilarious, is less funny than ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people who paid to see him, that's a problem right there.
Well, it's a fundraiser and he's the act.
Oh, it's a fundraiser and he's the act. Okay. So they kind of had no choice in the matter. I see.
Or he was the act and the person that booked him won't be booking the acts for that fundraiser anymore.
I'm trying to think if I've ever laughed at Rob Schneider. Maybe the copy guy.
Oh, yeah, Copy Boy is funny.
Maybe.
Yeah, that was funny.
Like the first 40,000 times they did it?
Maybe you didn't laugh, but you did repeat it a couple times.
Yeah. Making copies.
Exactly.
See,
it's hard not to.
So there's that.
Rob Schneider.
Yeah, Rob Schneider.
Yeah, I'll be doing an episode dedicated to him real soon.
And we have movies to talk about.
We do,
The new Bad Boys movie that nobody asked for.
Actually, it's a really awful.
Okay, don't get ahead of yourself.
Can I?
No, don't get ahead of yourself.
Let me just say that it's been an awful. I was put, at the end of this month, so in 2 weeks, I will post and talk about on my podcast and probably here, if you'll have me, is the halfway point of the year. I always put together my top best and top and worst movies of the year so far.
Oh, good.
Bad Boys a lock.
Bad Boys is the worst movie. It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in
don't
my
get ahead
life.
Of yourself.
Don't
get ahead of yourself.
But I will say this.
No,
Don't
say anything else.
I won't say anything about the movie. I will say this. Putting the lists together, 2024 has been one of the worst years for movies. It's been unbelievably bad.
There's your
I thought it was just you. It's actually the movie.
No.
Yeah.
Nick, is this the one with Martin Lawrence in it, right?
Yeah, Martin Lawrence and Will Smith.
Now, do you know there's a video that's been going around of Will Smith having to help Martin Lawrence? Is Martin Lawrence sick or something?
He's not healthy.
Not healthy.
Yeah.
And especially, he's not healthy, and especially
Emotionally.
He's on some meds, and he's like dealing with. He had a breakdown, and he's dealing with a lot of
He
stuff.
talks
He's
about
not in
it,
great
too.
shape. He's not in great shape.
Not doing well. By the way, before we go to the break, we come back and we talk about the Hitman, The Watchers, and Bad Boys.
Yeah.
What's your movie tour looking like for the summer?
My movie for my
Your movie tour where you're hosting movies.
Nick's Flicks.
Yeah,
Nick's
Nick's
Flicks. And that's at the Lake Theater in Oak Park. This Wednesday, I am showing, this Wednesday at 7 p.m., I am showing Tommy. Which is the Ken Russell film
Tommy,
version
can you
from
hear me?
1975.
Cool.
If you've ever wanted to see Jack Nicholson, Oliver Reed sing, here it is. If you want to watch Anne Margaret roll around in baked beans, which is the main reason I am showing this movie, so come on out. It's great. It's an insanely bat crap crazy movie. And Tina Turner's in it, Elton John's in it with giant shoes, and he plays. He sings the Pinball Wizard in it. It's one of my favorite crazy musicals from 1975, and I'm showing that.
Tickets and
That's
info where?
fun.
You can go to classiccinemas.com/Nick. And it's Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, Lake Theater, beautiful theater in Oak Park. Tommy, 1975. It never gets shown. This is one of the only times it's a one-night only thing. I'm giving away prizes, including a vintage 1975 one-sheet poster, movie poster for Tommy.
Cool.
Okay. So I got that, and
That's a good
we're
prize.
showing Tommy the musical from The Who on the big screen this Wednesday night at the Lake Theater. So get your tickets now. Classiccinemas.com/Nick.
Our Father's Day extravaganza, the Four Fathers.
Yeah, man.
At the Rao Theater in Crystal Lake. Next Friday night, 8 o'clock. Get your tickets for Dad. It's a great Father's Day present. And thank you again to the good people at Apt. Apt Electronics, pleasing people since the dawn of mankind. Have given us a beautiful grill to give away. So thank you to the brothers. What Dad does want a new grill.
Everybody wants a grill.
And somebody's going to win
too.
that. Somebody's going to win that at the show. All right, so Bad Boys, what you going to do? Well, not go to the movie. Bad Boys Ride or Die.
Yeah.
And apparently Will Smith gets slapped in this movie.
Yeah. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Yeah, Bad Boys Ride or Die. It's the fourth in the excruciatingly awful series of Bad Boys movies. It started back in 1995, I want to say.
Let me ask you some questions I don't know if you can answer.
Okay.
Will there be car chases?
There will.
Will there be car crashes?
There will.
Will there be random gratuitous violence that somehow the bad boys survive?
There will.
Probably.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Is there a love
can
interest?
predict it.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, the movie opens with Will Smith getting married.
Oh.
Will Smith's character getting married.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just crap.
It's a bad movie.
pile of crap.
So
It's a bad
is this the bad boys settling down?
I don't know.
Well, no, there's still car
getting
chases.
married.
Bad boys
I wish. I don't
bad
know.
boys move into a white
It
picket
is-
fence house on a cul-de-sac.
I would
That's
prefer
good.
Was
that,
the
I
first
think.
Bad Boys just as bad, or
They're all crap.
okay? They're all crap.
Now, hold on a second.
They're all crap.
They are not all crap.
They're all crap.
They are not all crap. Bad Boys 1 and 2 are great.
No, they're not. He's drunk.
So the reason why they did this one was because
Money. I mean, they all three of the movies have made money. And this was this is the first movie that Will Smith has actually made since the whole slapping Chris Rock thing. But it's not the first movie that's been released. The other stuff was in the can. He'd already shot that stuff when he slapped Chris Rock. So this is
It's interesting to have this as a comeback vehicle.
well, they needed something and they knew the other ones made money, so
his-
let's try it.
His agent and his people were like, we need to rebrand this idiot. So let's make a Bad Boys movie. And it didn't matter that Martin Lawrence has been going through a lot of really personal, crazy stuff lately, physically and mentally. These two guys should not be in a movie. They should not be making movies for several other reasons. And then they put him in a movie that's directed by the two idiots who directed the last one. And it is like within the first 5 minutes, I was ready to tear my hair out.
I would advise you not to do that.
It's like, no, it's just, it represents, like people who talk about like really, like bad, like coarse and crass Hollywood movies. This represents all of that. Everything that's bad about really greedy, idiotic decisions made in Hollywood is epitomized by this 2-hour piece of crap.
right.
It is
So cross that off the
it is
list.
absolutely the worst movie I've seen all year, and it's been a really, really bad year for movies.
And you,
a really bad
said
year.
of your halfway through the year, what are the best and worst? This is the number one worst so far.
Yeah, and on a list filled with crap. Like it's like 2024. Seriously, I've been putting the list together. There are 3 times as many bad movies that came out in 2024 as there were good. So far.
Well, that's special.
Yeah.
Delightful.
I'm looking forward to a movie that'll be out next week because my friend Lewis Black plays Anger in the movie. It's Inside Out 2. We'll talk about that later. But let's move on to Hitman.
Hitman is actually a good movie. It's Richard Linklater's latest film. The director of, my God, a ton of incredible movies, including Dazed and Confused and Boyhood and the Before Sunrise trilogy. Dazed and as I mentioned, Dazed and Confused, which I'll mention again, School of Rock. Ton of other really amazing movies, and this is his latest movie, and it's co-written by Glenn Powell, who is also the star of the movie. And Glenn Powell,
Boy, he's having a moment, isn't he?
Yeah,
he is.
he
I'm
is.
not a fan at all.
You're not a fan?
No.
He's prettier than he is talented.
Yeah.
Disagree, but okay.
But
You
like
disagree
that,
that
I
he's
like him.
pretty?
I disagree that he's just as pretty as he is talented. So
I don't think he's either of those. Oh, he's pretty. I don't
But
think
you
he's-
like this movie.
I did, and he co-wrote it, and he's very good in it. And as long as he works with Richard Linklater, he's good because he was in Everybody Wants It.
Short version, what's the premise?
He is a guy who pretends to be a hitman and pretends to be a whole bunch of different personalities and different people, and he ends up falling in love with a woman who thinks that he is a hitman and has to pretend to be that. And it's about how you pretend to be other people when you are dealing with different relationships in your life.
That old tale of
deeper
pretending
meaning.
to be a felon.
It starts out as kind of like a satire, a comedy of like hitman cliche kind of films, and then it really turns out to be a concentration about this relationship between these two people and how lying and being somebody you're not affects you.
Is Sydney
And
Sweeney in it?
God, no. Thank the Lord she's not.
How would they continue their fake relationship if she's not in it?
Yeah.
All right, so you like this movie.
I did.
All right,
I actually did very much. But the thing is, it's like, here's a movie. Bad Boys is now playing in like thousands of theaters in the country right now.
Yep.
A movie like Hitman is now only available on Netflix. And this shows you how screwed up and how many morons run Hollywood.
Well, the
because
distribution stuff doesn't make sense to anybody.
it doesn't
anymore.
make any sense. Like, this is a really terrific movie that Richard Linklater.
should be in theaters.
It should be in theaters. It's not. It's on Netflix, but yet you can go and see this piece of crap with Martin Lawrence and and Will Smith in all the theaters.
I just got a note. Bad Boys 5 is called Piece of Crap. I can't believe you paid for this one.
Yeah,
That's the next
and
one.
people will and Will Smith will still do a press tour for it.
The Watchers.
Another terrible movie.
What is this?
This is
This is the daughter of M. Night Shyamalan, who
M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong?
yeah,
Oh, no.
who is responsible for some of the worst movies ever made.
Isn't it a Fanning in it?
Dakota,
One of the Fannings?
Fannings.
Yeah.
Dakota
it's
is in it.
Dakota.
Look, it's a fanning.
And it's a Fanning and it's a Shyamalan, and this movie, the apple does not fall far from the rotten tree. She takes a big cue from her talentless father and makes a virtually unwatchable quote unquote horror movie about a group of people who are in what they call the coop in the middle of the Irish a forest in the middle of Ireland, and these creatures come out at night called the Watchers, and they watch them while they're stuck inside this this facility. And during the day, they can go out into the forest, but then they have to be back in, and then the creatures watch them, and they start to duplicate what they are.
So they can never leave.
It's incomprehensible. No, they leave during the day, and then they try to figure out a way where they can get out of there, and then all hell breaks loose, and the creatures run around. It is apparently based on a book, but it is the feature debut of Shauna Night Shyamalan.
M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong.
Daughter. And it is it's incomprehensible. It's idiotic. It is not scary. It's awful, and it is consistent with that last name because M. Night Shyamalan has made some of the worst movies of all time, and so she's just carrying on the family tradition by making an unscary, idiotic, and poorly made movie.
I think we should just all get outside this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful weekend.
If you want to go to a movie, go see Furiosa.
Yeah, Furiosa and Hitman, as you said. Next time we do this, I'm sure we'll be able to talk about it because I'm sure it'll be out of the theaters. But Paramount is doing a Kevin Costner $100 million epic, which could be remembered in history as the worst Western since. What's that Western that almost bankrupted or did bankrupt the studio?
Heaven's Gate?
Heaven's Gate.
Yeah, but I like Heaven's Gate.
Yeah, but it called Heaven's
It
Gate.
did. It bankrupt United Artists. Yeah.
So anyway, it's coming out. Costner, and I like Kevin Costner. He's always been great to me, man. And I like him, and I like him as an actor. But how you take the heat off of Yellowstone and turn it into what this is all, and I'm not just talking about this movie. He's gone from, hey, I love Kevin Costner. He's still around to, I don't care, go away.
Yeah.
Over the course of a year.
I felt that. I felt the whole Kevin Costner go away thing since around
he's a good
1990.
guy. He's a good
like
guy.
right around Dances with Wolves, I was done with him.
He was my bodyguard.
Did he carry you
He did.
over
Yeah,
the
he
threshold?
did. Yeah, he said, you're lighter than Whitney. And I said, oh, that's nice.
He didn't say shut up, fat ass to you.
No.
No. That was Walter Matthau, which is the greatest. I
Still a
Did
great
he
line,
kiss your
sure.
forehead at least?
He's a nice guy. He's a nice guy.
Did you sing
Yeah, Whitney Houston
I
was
Will
lovely.
Always Love You to him?
No, he said, shut up. Don't ever sing. He said, just look at me. Just look at me. Come closer. Look at my eyes. All right, now we all got to spit.
That's, by the way, the movie is called Horizon, and it's in 2 parts. The first part comes out. Oh,
fantastic.
yeah, no. The first part's 3 hours long, and it comes out in June. And the second part's in the fall, and that's 2.5 hours. So it's almost 6 hours of Kevin
That's
Costner
disappointing.
on a horse.
And for the record, I love Whitney Houston, so save your texts. Nick and the podcast, where do we get them?
RadioMisfits.com. The Nick D podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, and the Saturday Night Live podcast, which is called That Show Hasn't Been Funny in Years. Which, by the way, the next one that comes out next week is a summation of the entire season 49.
And don't forget to go to classiccinemas.com/Nick.
Yes, this Wednesday, Tommy, The Who's Tommy on the big screen.
The rock
Get your tickets
opera.
now. It's a rock opera. ClassicCinemas.com/Nick. Wednesday night, 7 o'clock.